but there are many people in my circle, friends and colleagues and podcast guests, who are making the opposite error. Many of them are almost exclusively focused on the problem of the far left, and this is causing them to significantly discount the harm that Trump has caused and is actively causing to our society. Some of these people are Trump supporters, but
actually a Tears for Fears cover of Mad World. It was on Donnie Darko. Fantastic song. Fantastic. Blue and gold like UCLA Bruins. Oh, but I'm not from... I didn't go to... Well, maybe. Never say never. I like the original. You like the original Tears for Fears? I don't know. I like this cover. I think it's one of the few covers that are better than the original. Watch it. New Jordan Peterson book. New Jordan Peterson book coming soon. Oh God. Listen, Jordan Peterson, we thought was camping out, going to rehab, right? And here he was writing a book the whole time. The algorithm they use won't catch it. There's a voice over it.
Too seriously. And they're extending a principle of charity to Trump and to the rest of his team that is frankly delusional.
Also,
Again, there
the
is a
dancing
needle
in the
to
Mad
thread
World
here,
video is something
and many
to
people
behold.
don't appear to even see it. Insofar as I've noticed what others in the so-called intellectual dark web have been saying, it's generally not something I want to be associated with. I don't want to single anyone out in particular, but allow me to take this moment to turn in my imaginary membership card to this imaginary organization.
Well, anyway, this can happen all over the place. There's some danger, in the case of Dave Rubin, for example, that he's hearing, the cheers of a bunch of people who are all concentrated in one mindset, and he thinks that what he's saying is making sense, and in fact, it seems to be making less sense over time as he's moving closer to a group that is united behind ideas that are not robust.
Josephine Matthias, welcome to the Rubin Report.
It's almost like Dave Rubin has no ideological foundations whatsoever. It's like he almost just says whatever that appears to make him more money. When the grifters think you're a grifter, yeah, that's saying something. That's a new level. I don't know what that really means, but for Dave Rubin, whenever fellow grifters are calling him out on the carpet, what would this mean? What could happen? Probably nothing. It's almost like Dave Rubin is... What is your eye color? My eyes change colors, truth be told. So sometimes they're bluey, sometimes they're green, sometimes they look kind of gray. Sometimes they even have like little specks of like honey. I can't even tell what they are today. They're gray this time. Gets mad, her eyes red like the spirit of the proletariat. Yeah, like little specks of brown. They look like this, that's right. Mood eyes, pretty much. I don't know. You shouldn't put honey in your eyes. Light brown. They look like a dark green right now. Y'all understand that you're saying different. They look different to everyone. They just change color. It's weird. I can't really explain it. Can't describe it. They look different to everyone. Yeah. Ben Shapiro, housing is a human right too, I suppose. I assume. Wait a minute. Okay, one thing at a time, chat. One thing at a time. Let's go back to this. So it looks like I gained some new followers after someone re-uploaded a clip from my interview on the Rubin Report. If you are one of those people, I just wanted to say Dave Rubin is a fraud, and I wish I saw
Even
through
says
this bullshit.
that in her Twitter bio. Blair White, welcome to the Rubin Report.
Thank you for having me.
That's okay. A fan of neither of them, but Milo is correct in saying Dave Rubin is a horrible friend in person. Where are the lasers?
Believes that life is too good to waste on
They
bad
only come
ideas.
out whenever I'm
Andrew
really,
Seidel, welcome to the Rubin Report.
really
Thank you for having me on. I'm very
angry.
excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you. We've met once in real life, not on camera, as citizens out there in the world. We had a couple of drinks and
then we went to a Reason rally.
then we went to the Reason rally, and I spoke at the Reason rally, and it was a weekend full of free thinking.
It was. It was a lovely time. I really enjoyed it in the nation's capital.
Argument with people, that stupid libertarian argument. I'm like, look, my dad's an architect. My stepfather's an architect. I grew up on construction sites. You have to have inspectors. If you don't have inspectors, man, you're fucked. Like, these guys are, there's a lot of dirtbags out there making houses. They're bad people. They're cutting corners and stealing money and watering down the cement. Like, the fuck out of here. You can't let the market decide.
Do you want the government to tell you how to do all these things and all the regulations that you got to have your electric thing this far from this and like all
The regulations like that for construction are important, though. You do have to make sure that people.
What does it say about the guests that go on the show and then denounce him later on? It sounds like what is probably happening is like the grifter and the grifter cascade effect, right? Where right-wing grifters who might have a smaller platform than Dave Rubin will use Dave Rubin to get a little more notoriety by going on his show, even though they know that he is a grifter with no ideological foundation whatsoever, and he's kind of stupid. And then after they go on his show, they denounce him so that they are not anyway associated with him or his faulty logic or his failed philosophical foundations or anything else. I think it is grifter cloud. Right. I think it is. I think that they see the benefit on going on Dave Rubin's show, but they understand I think that they understand the consequences, the potential consequences, if they are in any way affiliated with Dave Rubin thereafter. Amy, you could have said clout chasers. Oh, I guess I could have. Yeah, it's just clout chasers. But I think that they also, see the disadvantage of being in the same circle or being in the same category as Dave Rubin. So they want to make sure that they deflect away from any association and make sure that they denounce him after they use him for his clout that he will provide to them. How dare you call Rubin stupid, Amy? He is clearly an imbecile and a fraud. Okay, I'm sorry.
People don't do stupid shit.
But
make sure you
generally-
don't have a power line that's near a water line. There's a lot of.
But I would put most of that on the builders, though. They want to build things that are good. Now, I get it.
Oh, that's not true. Listen, man, I was in construction my whole life. My dad was an architect.
Yeah.
I've been in construction since I was a little kid. You fucking need regulations. These guys, a lot of people that are in construction, they'll do whatever the fuck they can to make money, and it's not good for the people that have the house because they might have that house for 5-10 years before that problem manifested.
But I think in the grand scheme of things, Candace is much bigger. I really believe that.
Chad, do you know why there's regulation in the first place? Unions? Private equity firms, real estate developers, whoever is the capital investor in any real estate development project, they assume limited liability. All right? So if they assume limited liability, which means they will not be held responsible, they refuse to be held responsible for any any substandard building that could lead to injuries or, worst case scenarios, death. They have to adhere to a certain standard, and this might be a chicken or an egg conversation, but basically, if these buildings were built substandardly and there was some sort of fault in the foundation or something happened where there was a crack or a break and a collapse or anything that could lead to an injury or subsequent death even, there would be room for litigation because we are an incredibly litigious country, and it is a way to protect builders and subcontractors so that they cannot be held responsible if they are at least building within the confines of whatever the municipal code tells them they must build within, right? That is one of the compromises that is made between builders, subcontractors, that they will at least adhere to safe building standards. So they will eliminate any possible risk of injury or death on site, right? Whether that be the builders themselves or those who will occupy these spaces. You have to offer assurance that you are providing safe, standard living quarters for those who will then be living in those dwellings, right? Otherwise, they won't assure that building is safe and secure, stable, free from environmental hazard or possible collapse, right? Because it would cost less money if they had to make sure that it was built correctly. Assuming that subcontractors or builders would just build good housing is that is the logical fallacy here. Now, a company's reputation could be on the line, and they might put in a little effort because they want to make sure that they have sustainable business in the future, but still, they are not going to assume responsibility in that capacity, right? They refuse to. They offset that responsibility. Tort law. Any tort reformers in the chat? Any tort reformers in the chat? Company's reputation, they will just change a name. True. That's another reason why you raise a really good point. Most developers, I can't believe I didn't even add this in. Most developers, any real estate company, they have their parent company. Then with every single new personal individual project, they create a new LLC. So it is actually kind of hard to track them. You are correct. So if the malpractice of one building does occur, then it will be tied to only that LLC that was created for that one specific real estate project, right? Whether it be a multifamily complex, whether it be commercial real estate, whatever the case may be, right? And that is to assume only limited liability for that particular project. That's kind of how it works. That's the builder, not the real estate company. Real estate companies go into contract, though, with the developers. It's the developers that create a new LLC. You got me. Shell companies, it's like Russian dolls. It is. Developers do kind of act like Russian doll companies with their shell names. Anyway. Sicilian this Sunday? Pretty much. Contractors have licenses that don't change, and in California, at least you can look them up. California is the exception here. I'll be honest, I'm beginning to lose patience with capitalism. Good, Canadian brunch. Good.
In terms
Why?
of, because I think she could be a direct line to all of the political parts of this if she decides
How
to go
so?
that route. Because I think she could, I think she could run for Senate or
What?
Yeah.
Who is
yeah.
this person? Who's
Are you
I-
okay? You high?
Yeah,
Did you get high
I'm not
before you got
high.
here?
I'm not high
What
today.
happened?
I'm only smoking maybe once a week on Sundays. And now
Only
I'm
on
on tour,
Sundays.
so I'm not really at all.
Maybe
But
I'll spark up a joint
Yeah, I
and have
don't
you
know who.
reconsider what you just said. You said you watched the podcast I did with her.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I watch. I don't know, maybe at least an hour and a half of it or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Why?
Why what?
Well, I don't know. Why are you saying it that way?
Will I go on Rogan's podcast?
Hi, Raymond.
I asked him, and our PR people asked him about a bajillion times to go on for my book. We did not get a response as far as I know, so I don't know what happened there.
Why?
Weird for me to say that publicly. I don't know what happened.
Teacher, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Canadian brunch.